We are live, yay! Let me readjust and get this closer. I feel like it's been a minute, and I also feel like I always say that every time I come on Facebook Live. I've been very busy creating content on my other platforms. So that being said, if you are watching this on Facebook and you would like to connect with me on my other platforms, I would love to connect with you over there. I would say I've been most active. I just started a TikTok a couple weeks ago, so I've been most active there, YouTube, and then probably Instagram after that, and then Facebook the last. And also, while we wait for everyone to join live, as you hop on, say hello, because I like to see who's here with me and connect with you. So today I have a topic I want to talk about, and it's something that I don't see a whole lot of people talking about in the coaching space. I see people talking about it, but maybe not as it pertains to manifestation, and maybe sometimes not in the most empowering way, if I'm honest. And that is trauma. So I want to speak today specifically about manifesting when you've experienced trauma. And of course, keep in mind, trauma is very subjective, okay? But this is an issue I see with a lot of my clients, and I don't think it's a coincidence because I'm someone who experienced a lot of trauma growing up, like systematic trauma, and it really, I don't want to say, I'm just going to say it put me at a disadvantage, and I'm going to explain why, because I see this being a key that a lot of people miss, and a lot of the women that come to me are missing this piece, and I think it's because it's not really spoken about a whole lot, so I want to speak about it today. So give me just 1 second here. And this girl is ready to go to the beach after this. Hello to whoever's hopping on. I moved here. I moved back to California after living in Tampa for 3 years. And last year, this time in California was freaking cold. And so last week it was kind of cold, and I kept affirming, I want it to be like Florida weather. And here we are with a heat wave. So this girl's been going to the beach every day. So I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. Whoever's hopping on, say hello so I can see who's here with me. But yeah, let's just dive in. So yeah, the links for all the other ways to connect with me is in my bio, okay? To sum up that kind of long intro. All right, so the main thing I see with clients and what I experienced myself, the main hurdle when you're looking to manifest and really create success and happiness for yourself and really free yourself when you've experienced trauma is your self-concept. Now, self-concept is something that I focus on with all of my clients. I think it's a really important part of manifesting because we don't want to just manifest things in and then not identify as that person who that's natural for, because then it's going to be hard for you to hold on to it, right? I use the example often of the person who's been broke their whole life, and then by a fluke they win the lottery, and then they're just as broke a year or two later. Well, the reason why is because they still identified as a broke person, right? They didn't up-level their self-concept. They didn't view themselves as someone who has money, who's capable of holding on to it, who makes wise investments, right? Like all the things. Or someone who's capable of generating more. They didn't upgrade their mindset, and a lot of that has to do with self-concept. So self-concept is important for everyone. We don't want to just manifest things. We want to be able to easily maintain it, but we also want to feel good, right? Like this isn't a thing of just going and achieving and doing. The whole reason you want the things, and I'm sure you've heard this a lot, is because of how it's going to make you feel, or how you think it's going to make you feel. You want to feel safe, you want to feel secure, you want to feel accomplished, you want to feel enough. I want to be on a motorcycle right now. Are you kidding? It's so nice out. Distractions. Okay. And the thing is, when we don't learn how to anchor in that feeling, when we don't learn how to really land in a space of I'm worthy, I'm whole and complete just because I exist, we end up feeling like something's always missing. I did a post about this the other day, kind of like something's not quite right. Like we just need to keep achieving a little more and then we'll be happy, but it's like this moving target. Let me know if you've experienced that. I'm sure you have. I feel like most people have. Where you're always waiting for something to go wrong. You don't trust that it's going to keep being good, right? So there's a lot we need to do as far as like rewiring your self-concept. And it's really, when I say self-concept, what I mean is who you view yourself to be. Because every time we up level, we really need to step into a new version of ourselves, right? So this is just like crucial to manifesting in general, in my opinion, and this is how I teach. But when it comes to people who've experienced trauma, there's extra work to do around self-concept. And the thing I see is so many people who've experienced trauma, common themes I see is one, you feel isolated in it. So there's a lot of shame, right? You feel like something's wrong with me, everyone else is succeeding. And then also always feeling like you're behind, right? So feeling kind of isolated, like no one relates to you. Maybe you're getting into programs and feeling like no one can help me, no one can understand my trauma. Like it looks so easy for everyone. Why is it so difficult for me, right? And the thing is, when we've been used to feeling like I'm not enough, I'm behind, you're really in that fight or flight because you're like frantic. You're like, oh my God, the whole world's going on without me. I can't keep up. That was something I consistently felt throughout my life. Like I cannot keep up. Also, I'm a projector in human design too. So like, I'm not really supposed to be doing things the way the rest of the world does it, right? I always teach to just make your own rules, by the way, but, you know, I'm just not built to hustle. So when you feel like that, you're already operating from a space of deficit. And what I mean is you're in a lack mentality. You're in that kind of frantic fight or flight. Like I'm just like paddling, trying to just stay above water here, like frantically treading water. And that is not conducive to manifesting. And in fact, what happens when you're doing that is it seems like the space between where you are and where you want to be is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But because you've felt behind your whole life, you are so heavily attached to wanting to see shifts right away, which is like, of course, because you just want what's naturally supposed to be yours. Like the things you want aren't some big crazy thing. Like you want financial freedom, you want to do something you love, you want to be in an amazing relationship, you want to love how you look and feel in your body, you want your body to heal, you want to lose the weight, clear your skin, like you want a beautiful home, you want a thriving career. Like these are normal things to want, but when you've gone for so long without it, it really is like that let me try to think of how to explain this. It's like this identity as someone who's behind and failing and in deficit is like expanding, and it's like harder and harder for you to break yourself out of that. And simultaneously, you're very, very attached to wanting the things. So this is the key. The key is to be able to detach from that and really go within and work on your self-concept. And this is the part that so many people, whether or not you've experienced trauma, but specifically those of you who have experienced trauma, it's the step that you want to skip over because the ego's telling you, but if I could just catch up, if I could just get those things, then I would feel enough, then I would feel okay, then I could feel safe, then I would feel proud of myself, I would feel worthy. But it doesn't work that way. It really, really doesn't. And a big part, let's talk a little bit now about what do I want to say next? Talk about why it's so important specifically for people who've experienced trauma. Well, I'll speak on the trauma I went through and what I see in a lot of clients. So one type of trauma, and this is one that actually goes very overlooked, so a lot of people don't realize they have this, is if you were like heavily criticized as a child. So what that sends, the message that sends to you is that I'm not enough. No matter what I do, it's not enough. And you're in a frantic state of feeling like you need to prove yourself. You're likely, if you've experienced this, you're likely someone who has a difficult time resting, right? Like wounded feminine energy, not able to fully receive, allow yourself to receive because you're afraid that if you stop doing, you're all of a sudden not worthy. But then the flip side of that is no matter how much you frantically do, it's never enough, right? So that's one way we get wounded if we were heavily criticized. And you'll notice you have a very strong inner critic. You may also notice that you have like certain people's voices in your mind. So maybe it was an overbearing mother, or maybe it was a really critical father, and you just have their kind of voice shaming you inside of your head, okay? Another big one is if you experienced abuse, and this was me as well. So heavily criticized and abused, right? So that message loud and clear is like, you're worthless. You don't even deserve to be here. You're a burden. You're always doing something wrong. And then you're always in this fear of like, what am I going to do that's going to get you? You're trying to avoid the abuse, right? So what happens when we go through these things, and these are just two, right? There can be a lot of different things. Like maybe you grew up with a narcissistic parent. That was me too. Maybe you, there's so many different things. Maybe there was neglect. Maybe you were always overlooked. Maybe when you spoke up, you weren't acknowledged. There are a lot of different things that can classify as a trauma. Okay. In my opinion, I think almost everyone's gone through, I think every human's been through some sort of trauma, but especially if you know you're someone who's gone through it, your self-concept's going to be huge, because the message you got loud and clear was that you're not worthy, and probably that it's never enough. And depending on what type of trauma, you also probably have a fear around being seen. So you're not seeing yourself, but you're wanting everyone else to see you, wondering why things aren't conforming, why are the clients not coming in, why is the love not coming in, right? All of these things. And so it's so, so important to work on self-concept. And people want to skip over it again because they're just like, well, I felt like I've been behind all this time. I just want my stuff. Why can't I get there? Why can't I figure this out? Why can't I just catch up to everyone else? But the thing is, when you take time to work on your self-concept, you're actually going to naturally start attracting these things in. And then from a neutral space of really knowing your worth, really knowing your value, validating yourself, really working through all the programs around belief in scarcity, even the distorted belief that you're behind, which I know will seem really real. Like in your 3D reality, you may feel like you're behind, but like you're an infinite being. How is that possible, right? So we need to like rework a lot of these programs in the mind. Once you get to a good neutral space, once you're really solid within yourself and your self-worth, then you intentionally manifesting is really easy. But what a lot of people don't realize is that, you know, the things you want is because it's your most fullest self-expression, which means when you can lose all the like dense stuff you've picked up, all the dense programming, when you can lose all the masks you wear because you're trying to fit in and be enough and do what you think you need to do, when you can just shed all of that, like that's just what your energy is going to naturally align to. It's going to align to all the things you want, and manifesting is very, very easy. So hello to whoever's hopping on, and feel free to like comment below. I haven't seen any comments, but I don't know if they're showing up. Feel free to say hello so I can see who's here, and if you have any questions, if this is making sense. So the key with trauma, and again, very subjective. So if you're just catching this, like go back when I finish, go back to the beginning, because we talked about it a little bit more. The key is to be willing to detach from like the neediness, the needing the change right away, and really be willing to focus on you and giving yourself the self-love and building up your self-confidence the way it should have been done for you when you were a child. Hello, Summer, welcome. Thank you for saying hello. I like seeing who's here. And the thing is, you know, when we're children, this is another part to add in, I guess. From ages 0 to 7 is when our subconscious is being formed, okay? We don't have the ability as children at a young age to accept or reject programs, right? So I want you to take a look at what were you being told about yourself when you were growing up, whether that was verbally or what you were being shown by how you were treated. What were the conclusions you came to about yourself? Because that's what's going to be running on autopilot until you actively change that program. And so the thing is, as an adult, you have the ability to consciously go in and say, oh, this program's running. Well, this is shit. I don't want this. And like choose something new. But as a child, you didn't. So you have to have some patience with yourself and really understand, you know, you were like a sponge just soaking it up. And, you know, many of us just had a lot of unfavorable programs just kind of given to us anyway. Specifically, like money's a big one where I see like almost everyone has some sort of negative programming around money, just because that's collectively what's been agreed to and passed down. Could be health things, could be like the relationship you witnessed between your parents, like so you came to conclusions about that. But specifically when you've experienced abuse or trauma, it's so heavily ingrained in you about the way you view yourself. And that is the key to changing if you want to really be able to master manifestation, is really going within and reworking that. Let me read these comments. Single for 14 years, probably trauma. Well, I mean, it depends on what story you want to tell. Like if you're actively looking, if you have identified that you want to be in a relationship and you have struggles with relationships, yeah, I would definitely say that. You know, and typically these things, so a lot of the work I do is with subconscious. That's one of my gifts. I'm able to help you go in and really see like what programs are running, because, you know, when it's just the only way we've known life to be, it's really hard to identify it. because you don't really have anything else to compare it to. Sometimes we're so close to the problem, we don't see it. It's in our blind spot, right? And it's interesting because I see a lot this often in clients where they'll have a really good self-concept when it comes to maybe career or money or love or their physical appearance, but then they struggle in another area. And it's all about just going in and reworking it. But what I see consistently is with people who did experience severe trauma or like systematic trauma or abuse is that typically it affects every single area because the general theme is like, I'm not worthy. Okay. So that was the main thing I wanted to share today. And so if you're someone who's experienced abuse or trauma and you're having a hard time manifesting, I want you to really just like start giving yourself the positive self-concept that you should have been ideally instilled with as a child. Start going in and doing that work, because that's going to be the game changer for you. Just doing that alone is going to, along with working with your nervous system, but also just creating a positive self-concept will automatically influence your nervous system. It will calm your nervous system. Those two things together are going to energetically open you up to so much. Like your good will just start being magnetized to you without you even needing to consciously try. So this is where I see people stuck, you know, like they understand manifesting, they know they can have what they want, but they're trying so hard and putting forth a lot of effort, but not really getting results. And so if this is resonating with you, this likely is why. So start giving that love to yourself. It's deeper than self-love, right? Like it's not just about being kind to yourself. It's really about actively going in and seeing what stories are going on. And if this is something you want support with, this is obviously the work I do. My mastermind, Wealthy Woman Revolution, would be great. Or if you're looking for one-on-one support, I do have options for that too. And when we do this work, you know, we go in, we really look at the subconscious programming. We work with your conscious mind because it's something that needs to be trained. Because at first, your conscious mind and subconscious is going to resist new programming because you've been practicing these old stories for so long. We work with your nervous system. We work on so many different levels. We really master your mindset, your emotions, everything, because it's all connected. But the piece I really want you to take away from this today is if you're someone who's experienced trauma, really be honest with yourself. Are you skipping over this step? Because I guarantee you this is the key. All right, my loves, let me read this comment real quick. And hello to other people hopping on. I'm about to hop off, but feel free to watch this from the beginning. Oh yeah, I want a healthy relationship. I choose unavailable men. It's a pattern. Then I give up for a few years, been dating again. Oh yeah, I went through this pattern for like 10 years of my life. Yeah, typically, Summer, with that, it's typically because on some level you're not emotionally available. And I would be curious to know what stories you're telling yourself about intimacy. Like if you deep down are afraid of that there's something wrong with you, or something within you that's not lovable, you'll tend to you're unavailable because you're afraid of intimacy. You're afraid of someone seeing that because then you feel that they'll see that part of you that you think is not lovable and then they'll reject you. So then likely what's happening is the subconscious, so you're not consciously aware of it, consciously, like 5% of your mind, you're saying, I want a relationship, but 95% of your mind does not feel like it's safe. So actually, unbeknownst to you, you may be emotionally unavailable. And because you're emotionally unavailable, what you're actually an energetic match to is other people who are emotionally unavailable. So I would love to know how that resonates. I know that was the case for me. That's been the case for many of my clients. And those are just all the ways you get to go in and love yourself more and work through that. And I think you'll be amazed when you work through this, how quickly you'll attract in a partner too. It's amazing. And when we work through the stuff, you'll be amazed at how quickly money starts coming in and how quickly your body changes and all the things. Well, damn, that does make sense. It does, doesn't it? But it's not the way we're taught to think of it, right? So yeah, take a look at, just to give you one more thing to think about, take a look at the stories you're telling about men. You know, you can say, like, do you have a story going on of like, men don't want relationships, men aren't emotionally available? Because those are the stories you get to change, and then look at the ways you're not being emotionally available to yourself, okay? Because everyone and everything in our life is just reflecting back to us the energy we're holding inside. And this goes for whatever you want to manifest. All right, so for everyone hopping on a little bit late, I'm going to be hopping off. You can watch this from the beginning. I did want to let you know I've been more active on my other platforms lately, okay? So if you would like to connect with me further, feel free. There's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and those are all linked in my bio. But I did want to hop on and do a Facebook Live and connect with you guys. If you're looking for further support, I will link down below when I hop off the link for my mastermind, and then also the link in my bio has like all the ways if you are looking for self-paced programs, if you're just starting out, or if you're wanting one-on-one mentoring. I do have one-on-one mentoring space left for this month, and then I do have a Voxer only option as well. So thank you for joining me, my loves. I intend that this served you. I intend that this brought some clarity to you. Just know that like the more you work on you, the more you change you and who you're being and how you're viewing yourself, your 3D reality will have to match that. It's law. Whatever's going on outside of you is because of what you're holding inside. So just remind yourself that you are a powerful creator. Your thoughts and your feelings do create. And no matter how out of control you may feel of things or how long a story may have been seeming to repeat, you always have the power to start going within and telling a new story, and that will shift everything for you. Okay, my loves, I'm gonna go head to the beach. I am sending you love. Have a beautiful weekend, and I will connect with you soon. Bye.